right, so I want to take you to Roger Alexander, to Trinidad and Tobago. I'm holding my head and I'm bowling. That's all I'm doing. Because it ain't making sense, but this is Roger Alexander.
These items were destined for inside the maximum security prison in Aruca. An intelligence effort led by Police Commissioner Alistair Gavaru on Friday night foiled the attempt. Police say a 13-year-old boy from Urupun Gardens and a 26-year-old from Tunapuna were held in a targeted search of a river in the area. Among the items found include 1,000 grams of cannabis, 256 packs of cigarettes, 15 cell phones, 16 drone batteries, 12 charging blocks, 16 headsets, 15 USB cables, and 4 nail clippers. The Homeland Security Minister praised the intelligence and cooperation between the police service and prisons, but went further in saying the nation may have to soon look at trying children in an adult court.
We must now look at where we can, definitely in the law, treat someone who's of a childish age, though, as an adult in a court of law because of his actions. We have no choice.
Such an occurrence is not alien. Countries such as the United States, England, Wales and Jamaica have set the precedent. Minister Alexander also referenced the fire at St. Benedict's College this week, which fire officers say may not have been accidental.
How come, and answer this for me, how come that these same young children, they don't burn down their Nike sneakers when it is bought for them, but they're lighting fires at the nation's schools?
He fears children who commit crimes feel they will not face the full brunt of the law.
They are making joke about serious matters, believing that all they will receive is a bare slap on the wrist.
Minister Alexander says not everyone in the prison service should be painted with the same brush, promising to continue his war against criminals until he says citizens are safe.
Imagine that. I don't... Oh, God. Jesus. I think that man think he's still on TV6, you know. I think he with Marlon still. Like, you're talking to Marlon Hopkinson or whatever on TV6. You're not. You're not talking to Marlon Hopkinson. You're speaking to the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. And I would ask that you do it with some sort of class and some sort of, I don't know, boy. Maybe some things that you lack as Minister of National Security. I don't know. Or Homeland Security, whichever we're calling it now. But you want to try children as adults in Trinidad and Tobago, and you want to set the precedent simply because you think that the children they're not operating as though they have any sort of understanding that your actions have consequences. But a 14-year-old being tried as an adult doesn't make sense to me. Maybe what we should look at is actually telling parents to instill values in their children. And if parents can't instill values in their children, then try the adult, try the parent. If it is your child coming home from school and you're not checking your child's book bag and you are allowing that child to just come home and go back to school every single day as though, you know, there's no sort of hierarchy in the household, and your child is found with grams of marijuana in school, I say charge the parent. And that is a precedent in the United States as well. If it is you are neglecting your child, you as a parent is to be held responsible for that. And not just the child. Yeah, the child will be placed in a home, and yes, you could look at several different aspects to make sure the child is scared straight, and that's a pun for a program in the United States called Scare Straight, which Trinidad and Tobago does not have. In fact, in case you're kind of forgetting the blasted issue in Trinidad and Tobago, one of the issue, Roger Alexander, is that the same people that you put the children in a home with, abusing them, sexually abusing them. Gary Griffith, former commissioner of police, would have showed us several white-collar crimes in these homes. Don't forget all of the things that happen under PNM that you say you don't want to happen under UNC. But if you don't want it to happen under UNC, then do your blasted job. That's all. As the Minister of National Security, do your blasted job. You want to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about banana and talk about some stupidness to the media inside Parliament and wherever you're at. But the one thing that you're not doing is your job as the Minister of Homeland Security. That's the one thing you're not doing. Ironically, every time you hear Alexander talk, it's some bullshit. Always some bullshit. It's always this, always that, always the other that nobody could comprehend, nobody could understand, which is why people losing faith in this administration to actually curb crime or bring down crime, which is why the UNC have to resort to a narrative about telling people crime down from 2024 to 2025. It's because of a state of emergency. Don't let them fool you with that bullshit. It's because of a state of emergency. Only reason. The UNC has done absolutely nothing different when it comes to crime right now, outside of just talking to the people. And 100%, we'll wait for a budget. But while we're waiting for a budget, you see Alexander, all the Alexanders, put like a muzzle on them. All the Alexanders, the Philip Alexander, the Roger Alexander, and any other Alexander, all they want to put there. Because, oh Jesus Christ, you all know how hard it is for activists to come after the fact to defend bullshit all the time? All the time, so? One of them was with, don't tell me hush. One of the times was with the cryptocurrency. In groups with activists who afraid to come out and talk and say, hey, Kamala, no, please leave with cryptocurrency. Simply because they don't want to lose the position. That's why they don't want to lose the position. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. The fact is you can't come and tell me that you want to try children as adults because children wouldn't go and quote this, what you say, go back to the clip, burn the Nike shoes. They wouldn't burn the Nike shoes, but you want to burn down a school building. That's what, and I'm not condoning them doing that. 100% not condoning them doing that. But you had to get to the root of the issue in Trinidad and Tobago, and the root is at home. What the parents doing? Which is why Keith Christopher Rowley said to the people, said to mothers out here, if you lay down with a hyena, we expect to raise. We expect to raise. If parents lying down with hyenas, if women not even choosing the men wisely in this place. One statement that he said that was good but still controversial, ironically. If those people lying down with fleas, we expect to get, or lying down with dogs, we expect them to get up with, or we expect them to make. Ironically, in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a serious issue, a real serious issue. And UNC campaigned on fixing those issues, but you see this statement is not it. I swear, at times, I just had to wonder if this government mad at times. And today I had to ask myself that honestly for this show, because Jesus Christ, because I feel as though we given the PNM, or the government giving the PNM the platform to actually say, well, they're mad, and actually have something good to campaign on. I feel like there's not enough noise or something going around, and the UNC want to allow the PNM to comment and say this and that and the other. Because going on with communications, my goodness, how to be that? But I need to remind, I need to remind Alexander that it is the former Commissioner of Police, Gary Griffith, that spoke significantly about corruption in Trinidad and Tobago and white-collared crime. And one of the things that was raised, in case he forgets, is the fact that children are not safe out here. They're not safe. And especially when you put children in a home, they're not safe. They're buggering people in homes. What's going on? They are sexually assaulting children in homes, and children are running away from homes. YTC is a major example of it, where children escape, teenagers escaped YTC and said why they run away. It's because they're being raped. They were being raped. Go back to the news story. Akil Chambers, buggered, raped by senior officials in government. The CARICOM report spoke significantly about the PP administration, saying that they were human trafficking of Venezuelans and just random people. And they are sexual predators in this place. So that's why I find it amusing, not even amusing, but it's more so surprising that Alexander will come to say, like, we try children as adults, to then do what? The United National Congress has been one that spoke significantly about rehabilitation. If the UNC speaks highly about rehabilitation and Alexander didn't catch the memo back then, I'll understand. Because back then he was bad talking the UNC to an extent. He was at PNM, everybody know that. All right? But the UNC, in case you don't know Alexander, speaks highly about rehabilitation and a rehabilitation program for prisoners coming back and reintegrating them into society. We cannot take young people out of schools and throw them in jails. That is not fixing anything. When you compare in Trinidad and Tobago to the United States and suggesting that, well, it's a system that the US have, my sir, the US is a much bigger country than Trinidad and Tobago, and the level of killings taking place in US schools rather than Trinidad schools is you can't even count it. The US right now and their issue is the US issue. Trinidad and Tobago issue is a unique issue, a very unique one. Our problem here in Trinidad and Tobago is not particularly the citizens, that is the poor citizens and all. It is people like you who's sitting on the top, who climb the ranks. However you climb the ranks and you become Minister of National Security or Minister of Homeland Security, it's people like former administrations, former people from those administrations that came in and raided Trinidad and Tobago for every single thing, called the heart, and all of these people that raid Trinidad and Tobago for literally everything it could offer and left nothing for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Kamla Persad-Bissessar is on a great path for progressing Trinidad and Tobago. Unfortunately, people like both Alexanders that they're saying whatever they want. I don't know if they're vetting it, if Kamla Persad-Bissessar vetting it, but they're saying what they want. You calling for children to be tried as adults and talking to the media just as how PNM will talk to the media and walk away from the media. That's walking away from the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Take pattern from your Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar and my Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar, where she will stop, speak, and interact with the media. That's the only way this idiot on CNC3 could have spoken to Kamla Persad-Bissessar and gotten such a long, lengthy interview. I believe that she's doing her best and she's saying all that she could say. But again, it's her people around her, part of that cabinet, Alexander, both, that just doing what they want, boy. Saying the first thing that come on their mind, boy. And then everybody will adopt it as government policy. Is what? We agree with the police officers in schools. We want to give it time. There was a clip again from a police officer playing tennis or you know, that racket thing with children. That is more of what we need. More of what we need is community policing. That we need. The Minister of Education today, and God bless him, talk about laptops by the end of September for school children, for Form 1s, which is good. And it better be a better initiative than what it was back in 2010 to 2015. And I think it would be a better initiative. But you can't tell me now that the issue is that children wouldn't like the Nike, but they're lighting the school afire. I understand. Trust me, I do. Your message should be one of compassion, Alexander, and not one of hate. That's what your message should be for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. More of understanding, and understanding that young people today not given hope, and they're not given anything to go to really clam on to now tell them and to threaten young people, to threaten my generation, a generation before, about jail time, simply because, it's not a simple thing, But just because you don't know how to deal with the issue, I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting that, and I will not accept it from the UNC administration. I'm not accepting it, especially for administration that spoke significantly about reform and understanding and compassion. I will not accept it. I'm telling you right now, it is something that I will not accept, and I will call it out, Alexander, because you're mad. Because if we need to, we will take a glimpse back into your past, you know. And I think now I understand a little bit that Alexander is really more for a police state. Probably. Because extrajudicial killings by your, under your watch as superintendent or head of sort or whatever, don't forget Noel Diamond Jacob. The 3 men right there in Mova Laventil, I will never forget. I will never forget them on almost every show that I speak about crime and criminality and national security. I will always bring these people up. We know, I've heard multiple things about Roger Alexander from Mova. We could go down his past. We could go down. We could talk about it. All right, the Police Complaints Authority, they were told about, and reports were brought about Noel Diamond Jacob, Israel Clinton, and the 3 men there that was shot in Mova, where police officers tell them exit the vehicle and they put their hands out the window, but you still open fire on all of them. Because people in Trinidad and Tobago, they're trigger happy. The police service trigger happy. And probably it's being ran now in terms of national security by a trigger happy police officer or national security minister or homeland security minister, whichever one you want to call it, right? I don't know, maybe. But you need competency, boy. Competency in government, and UNC is supposed to be offering that competency, that level of competency in government. And I still believe that the UNC offers that. But through this Alexander and then the next Alexander and then Kamala going to Venezuela, I feel like, whew,